Good afternoon, everybody. Looks like the attendance report just popped up, so make sure you do that for the afternoon. Our next speaker is Greg Banks. Greg, I believe I saw you in here. Just double check that real quick.
That is correct. I am here.
All right, Greg. So everybody, Greg Banks is the CEO of Burnsaid Trucking, a refrigerated transportation company specializing in the movement of fresh and frozen seafood across the East Coast. With nearly three decades in transportation and logistics, Greg has built and scaled brokerage, intermodal, and enterprise sales organizations inside both high growth and large scale environments. He began his leadership journey helping launch integrated capacity solutions at JB Hunt and has since built revenue engines, led multi-million dollar sales teams, and driven disciplined, margin focused growth across multiple platforms. Today, he leads with a simple philosophy: growth follows predictability. Greg focuses on operational rigor, revenue quality, and preserving value in time sensitive supply chains, ensuring that what moves through his network arrives not just on time, but intact in margin, trust, and reliability. Greg, welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you, Ted, very much.
Appreciate you being here. Now, Greg, you and I spoke the other day, and you're not a veteran, but you seem to have a passion for veterans as a community. Can you talk about that and why that is?
Yes, this is an easy response. You know, I've always been around trucking companies pretty much my whole career, and I've always put at a very high level, the highest level, military, and then, of course, our truckers. There's something to be said about their service and what they do, but there's a large span between military who have served our country and I believe everybody on this call has. That's why I want to make some time for this call for sure today. But love our military, love what the military teaches, whatever division it is that you all come from. It's impressive to me. In my 35 years experience, I've had only positive things to say about hiring military, whether it be a driver or someone in the office. Doesn't matter. The discipline that the military teaches is second to none.
So, Greg, you've been in transportation pretty much your entire career, and I believe you started out in sales. Can you talk to us about your career and how you moved into being the CEO of a trucking company?
Yes, sales is my heart. I love that. I think people are born to do certain things, and sales has always been what I've enjoyed the most. Leading sales teams, working with sales teams, building sales teams. I'm kind of a player's coach. I love to get involved in people's lives and develop people to find and develop their better self. And so sales is a way for me to do just that. But sales, it's moved into, leadership. There's I've done podcast on speaking to leadership, but leadership's really just influence. Maxwell even goes back before Maxwell, but the one word description of leadership is influence. I love that. I think it's spot on. So it doesn't mean title. It just truly means if you're influencing your circle, that's how you work your way up into leadership roles, in my opinion. It's proved correct for me as far as an individual salesperson moving into sales management, building sales teams, to current today being the CEO. And that title means nothing. That means I'm just the guy supporting a lot of great people. Our philosophy is if we win, if we're winning, it's on them. If we lose or we're losing, it's because of me. So I think that mindset has always allowed me to promote quickly. And if I own something, that I give my very best, and I think that's been seen. And of course, that's where we are today.
So I think you already answered my next question, but I'll expound on it. I was going to ask, moving from sales into the executive leadership, what kind of mindset shift for you did that take?
Yeah, when to sales leadership to executive leadership, I recommend don't pursue being CEO. CEO is the job I currently have is you play all hats. You have so many people that report to you. I guess I say it tongue in cheek. I love what I do. It's very hard, but you've got to be able to enjoy people. You've got to enjoy leading people. It's hard at times. What we do today is a 247 operation. Our business really gets going about midnight, and midnight through about 3 a.m. is when we have the most activity. And so, being at the top of a small company, you get the calls for everything. If it's a flat tire or maintenance issue at 2:30 in the morning, or run over a motorcycle, which we just had happened to us not too long ago. Thank God nobody was on the motorcycle. But these little things that when you're at the top, you get all the calls. But I enjoy it. I love it. It's a way to influence. It's a way to lead. I've always been about culture, and people ask what's that mean, and being about a good culture, producing or putting together a good culture is key, I think, to success. A lot of CEOs today that I've read about, that I've experienced, worked under, they start out well, start out strong, and meant well as far as culture, but because of the grind, they lose sight of the importance of keeping a great culture. And there's so much when you peel back that onion on culture that we could talk about maybe a later podcast. But that's in short, really, hopefully answers that story a little bit.
I've got a question from Tyree. Tyree, go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon. I apologize. Still waking up clearly. Good
All right.
afternoon, Greg. How are you? So in your
Good.
personal opinion, what would you say comes first, organization or people? And then why is that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Me personally, some would answer differently if they're chasing the dollar, and it could be that organization is their priority. I believe if you've got the right people, if you train and develop the right people, and you do the right thing as a leader, it really starts at the top, right? We bleed down. That people become who your leader is. If you've got a bad apple, ultimately everybody else becomes bad apples or they leave, right? And so I think if you've got a focus around people, your organization's going to be going to thrive. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean I'm everybody's friend. That doesn't mean that you're the nice guy all the time. But that does mean that you try to do the right thing all the time, and you try to be that example and lead in the culture of the people, and the organization will thrive, in my opinion. And I've seen it over and over again when it's done correctly.
Awesome, thank you. I'm definitely a people first, organization second kind of person as a leader, and I've seen that that's served me pretty well in my military career. So thank you.
100%.
So Greg, you've been in transportation your whole career. Why? Why transportation?
Yeah, good question. I think I never really chose that. In college, it was the glorified, very attractive, sexy pharmaceutical sales. That's where I was really where I was heading. I got my first shot at trucking or logistics in LTL, and I think that when you talk to people in logistics or in trucking, once you get in, it's hard to get out. I think it becomes a part of who you are, and I've really never looked back. Once I got into trucking or logistics today, that's kind of the more attractive name is logistics or supply chain management, whatever you want to say there. But once you get into logistics, very few leave. I don't know if it's because they can't, but it's something that I very much enjoy.
So Greg, I know you get asked this all the time, but what does Burnside Trucking do
Sure.
exactly?
Yeah, so Burnside Trucking's been around since 1990. So that what they do today is move fish, fresh fish, which is a niche, fresh fish from Miami all the way up, what we call the I-95 corridor, all the way up to Boston. So today, fish is flown into, let's say Chile, salmon flown in the belly of a plane, a commercial airplane usually, and then it's brought into the airport in Miami, cross-docked. We do LTL refrigerated. We bump docks. We pick the product up, fresh fish, bring it to our cross-dock in Fort Pierce, about 2 hours north of Miami. And then we cross-dock it there, consolidate, deconsolidate, whatever's needed, sort and seg, they call it, and then put it onto big trucks. We call big trucks team trucks, 2 drivers in a truck, and head from Fort Pierce all the way up to Boston and all points in between. So the neat thing about fresh fish is the goal is 6 days. So from the boat to the table, that's the goal with fresh fish. So we try to keep everything we do expedited. It's hard, a lot of moving parts. What I like about this business is it is so hard. Very few companies want to get involved with it. It's high claim. Your fish is, as it gets warm, it starts devaluing. The value goes down. So we have to make sure that everything we do is refrigerated correctly, iced correctly, packaged correctly, and keep that product all the way up to Boston. And then it's put to usually restaurants or to a Walmart or whatever it may be of choice where you buy your fish fresh.
So, Cassandra, I'll come to you in just a second, but Greg, that sounds like a high pressure environment because you always got specific timelines. How do you manage that with your team?
Yeah, it's hard. I hate to use they're all watching you, right? As a leader, everybody's watching you, and there's a lot of pressure. I think this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my career, for sure. There's just so many moving parts, and if one cog gets jammed, the whole thing's disrupted. So disruption is very easy to happen. And so as a leader, back to what we talked about before, you've got to, I'm not saying fake it till you make it, but you've got to be one that's prepared and ready to lead and lead us through those challenging times. You guys, if you've served in the military, and if some of you have served in combat, active duty, nothing compares to that. I get that, but it's still a high stress environment, and making sure that my team and my leadership team and the whole team sees me not miss a beat, stays upbeat, always coming to the problem with a solution is key. I always tell my team, as far as I've got 2 direct reports, 3, I'm sorry. I got a CFO, I've got a COO, and then, of course, I've got a sales manager. And in our times, I'm always trying to teach them we've got to make sure we lead strong. Sometimes you don't feel like it, right? Lack of sleep. If I'm woke up at 2 or 3 in the morning, hours are minimal on sleep. You still got to come out swinging. And really the key is truly realizing and pausing all the time. They're watching you. They're watching me. And what are they seeing? And so that keeps me motivated to make sure that I don't lose my cool. Doesn't mean I'm not perfect on that. There's times I've lost my cool, but it's how you recover quickly and keep motivated, keep inspiring people to do their very best.
Thank you. Cassandra, go ahead.
Your 2-man team concept, is that like a safety thing? Is that why you have 2 men in the trucks?
Oh, good question. Really, it's called to be compliant with the laws of the governance around drivers, so that you're not stopping and taking a break. If you have a team, 2 drivers in a truck, you can run continual. One can be berthed in the back sleeping while the other one's driving. Then he wakes up and takes the wheel, and then the other one drives. The other one sleeps. So you're able to have a continual move on that truck. Those wheels are always turning with no disruption. Back to our objective to make sure that fish hits that table in 6 days. We've got to make sure everything we do is moved at breakneck speeds.
Is there a reason that you picked fish over maybe like produce or something like that that still uses refrigerated trucks?
That's a great question too. Yeah, so I've done produce. I've worked at my background is with JB Hunt Transport. That's probably my longest career 20 years with JB Hunt Transport. I was we call mode agnostic leader. We would go to and sell to customers all modes, from refrigerated, flatbed, truckload, LTL, intermodal, train. So being mode agnostic allowed me to truly experience. I brought the actual first produce opportunity to JB Hunt Transport back in 2007 with a grocery chain in Texas called HEB. I'm sure some of you are familiar with them, but we were the first ones to my team was the first one to bring into JB Hunt Transport produce at that level. And so produce is one I've been involved with. It's a lot easier. When you think of produce, it's a full truckload, it's refrigerated in most cases. You pick up at point A, you deliver at point B, and it's done. And with what we do, it's quite different. It's a multi-pick LTL. And there's appointments to be made. We've got to move quickly in Miami. Then we move to Fort Pierce. So again, a lot of cogs involved in this. And really, it was something it was a niche. It's something that I've never had done before. I pretty much have done most modes that's out there today. When I say modes, it's all points of transportation. But fresh fish was something I did not know, and I thought would be interesting to add to my resume. I didn't intend to be CEO here. That was my last intention. But things worked out to the owner saw that the idea of culture and the culture that we were at before wasn't that great. He wanted me to really bring into Burnstead Trucking, change the culture to something positive. So I used all those skills I've learned all my whole career to do just that.
That's really awesome. Thank you for your time, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Christopher.
Yes, sir. Thank you for being with us.
Thank
So
you.
you never imagined working with fish products, and I imagine you never thought you would become CEO either. How you moved up that? How exactly did you learn the business to get to where you are? I imagine it took a lot of trial and error.
Yes, a lot of trial, a lot of error. Again, most of my success, and I'm going to say this, it's we hear a lot, but truly, for me, it's been more failure than success. And all of us will have opportunity in life. We will fail. We have failed. I'm sure you guys have as well. The key that I've always learned from is take the failure and allow that to grow you and make you better. Almost to the point now, easier said than done, but almost the point of welcoming failure so you can grow and you can be that better person. Many people will see failure and then accept failure and victim, right? That defines who they are. But I would absolutely say the success here today as CEO was because of a lot of trial, a lot of pressure, and keeping my cool. Now I'm a man of faith. It's who I am, and anybody who knows me, it's a big part of what makes me who I am. So my faith I hold on to sometimes like the air that I breathe to get me through some of those trials and definitely some of those failures to succeed, find a way. I'm writing a book. It's very short and maybe have a couple sentences in it right now, but the title is Figure It Out, Find a Way. That's the people I'm looking for. That's who I am, is a mindset of figure it out, find a way. And if you have that mindset, whatever trial or error that happens, you'll figure it out. You'll find a way. And that's what people management, if someone comes to me with a problem, I always tell them, and I do it in a loving way, but no one comes to me with a problem because they know I'm going to ask for what's your solution. And I always encourage people to fail. Try it. Don't call your manager all the time. Try something as long as it's not going to shut down our company or hurt someone. Try it. And if you fail, let's learn from it. Let's talk about it. But I'm a leader that really challenges or opens a door for people to, there are better people in this company than I am. They're more tribal knowledge. And I want to make sure that they feel important. They're bought into something bigger than themselves. And so I really give a lot of leniency to trial and error at the individual level. Everybody can be a leader. Lead in your space. And we'll talk about there's error and we'll try to coach on it and try to fix that. But hopefully that answers your question.
It has, sir. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
So, Greg, I want to go back to culture for a second, which you've talked about, but another thing that's kind of comes out in your profile is an ownership mindset,
Mhm.
and I'm asking how you develop that in your teams.
Yes, it's really, it touches on what I mentioned before, is if you allow people to feel that they're a part of something bigger than themselves, they're gonna give their very best. You know, a lot of companies dictate you're a robot, you check in, you check out, and go home. That's your life. That's okay, and it still gets results. But I've seen greater success, greater results on allowing people to truly own the issue. You know, we have a saying around Burnstead Trucking. It's all about process. It's very important to have process. There's an owner, one neck, right? And so if that individual understands that the buck stops with them, they're going to do all they possibly can to build process, put solutions in place, because they ultimately know the ownership stops with them when you talk about managers. And so delegating, allowing for power, for people to have influence within their own group. So it doesn't matter who you are in Burnstead Trucking, you're extremely important to me. Everybody does great things, and one thing too I love about the idea of being CEO is I love celebrating. I love celebrating early and often. So when there is a win, we celebrate early and often. I do a lot on LinkedIn, as many, if you're following me on LinkedIn, if you're not, challenge it, check it out. Check out LinkedIn. I do a lot of reads on the economy, but I also have a lot of encouragement, inspirational conversations I put out in LinkedIn. But that's a big part of success too, is even though this is a very challenging industry, is we learn to celebrate success. We celebrate people. We call a disruptor award. All that means is someone's disrupting the common good or common whatever's known. They break through that and do better. And so we call it disruptor. Our drivers get disruptor awards. Maintenance gets a disruptor award. If someone's doing something over and above the call of duty, we're going to call them out in a good way. And there's a nice gift card they get with that. They get into LinkedIn. I put a nice little write up on them. I've got 10,000 followers, so usually get 3,000 or 4,000 likes. There's a resume enhancement for them. But I love rewarding people. Again, this is so hard what we do. Life is hard, but I'm sure many on this call maybe in a struggle right now in your own work. But learning, when you get a chance to be a leader, I always said when I was young that if I ever got a chance to lead a group of people, a team, or in this case, CEO, I wanted to make sure that we work hard, but we also celebrate success early and often. And that's been key to my success too.
So, Greg, for someone leaving the military, which everybody on this call pretty much is, why is transportation and logistics a strong career path, something that you think they should move into?
It's a great question. You think about it, there's been studies done. I don't have the exact numbers, so I'm going to make this up. You guys just trust me on it. But if today, if America, and just use the United States, and logistics in the military is huge too. You can imagine trying to get, I mean, look what's going on right now in the Middle East, moving a large portion of our fleet, our Navy over to the Middle East. And can you imagine the logistics of moving ships and food and getting the ships, all that? You guys probably know far more than I do. Logistics is logistics. And what interests me about logistics trucking is if we shut down trucks today, think about no fuel, groceries. There's a study done. The country would be shut down. Truly, the big cities would go first. There'd be mass chaos, looting, because there's no fuel. I mean, think about it. When there's a snowstorm in your area or a bad situation coming or whatever, we had COVID, your grocery stores are gone. Even though there's no issue yet, your milk, your eggs, it's all gone. And trucking is what keeps America going. And so when you think about it, why it's so important, logistics, and that's kind of glorified, pretty name of it. But without logistics in the United States and trucking, America within, I think it was a month would be total chaos. So it's interesting to be a part of something that really keeps America going, and that's what I really love about trucking or logistics.
Can you talk about the different roles that Burn said? 'Cause I'm sure it's not just truck drivers.
Right. Yes, a lot of moving parts, or I call them cogs, that make us successful. We've got people in the back office, finance, making sure that the invoices get out, that the payroll's met. We've got salespeople that do their job of making sure that we're putting fish on our trucks. Of course, the drivers are a very important part of what we do. Most trucking companies, that's usually your largest. I think of JB Hunt Transport. At the time, they had about 35,000 employees, but probably 60-70% of that number was truck drivers. So a large part of what we do, we don't produce a widget. Most trucking companies don't have a way to produce widget. All you do is provide a service. And so, that's key, that there's all these moving parts, but you've got to payroll, you got sales, you've got safety and compliance, a lot of different IT technology, a lot of different moving parts within trucking organizations that need your support, need people on this call to get involved with, and we'd love to make sure that more military, the better. JB Hunt had a goal of 10,000, hiring 10,000 drivers, military background. They beat that goal and blew it out. I love that idea. And not always, but historically speaking, overall, you get better production out of your military people, your background, your experience, your discipline, better drivers, better employees. And largely due, and I thank God for a military, that what they train. A segment that I wish I had done on my resume is military. I would be able to interact more with some of our customers that have military backgrounds too. But military is key, I think, for the future for a lot of these companies. That's why I've made time for this call, to hopefully generate some excitement around people being in the military and their background joining Burn said other companies in the trucking industry.
So, you said drivers generally are a big portion of any trucking company's organization. Do you guys train your own drivers?
We don't. There are companies that do train their drivers. We don't have, we're just too small. It's definitely out there. A lot of trucking companies do provide training to CDL. And then, of course, put you in a truck. We try to ask for 2 years experience for our insurance purposes. We try to ask for 2 years experience. I've got 4 drivers today. We've got 40 employees, and of that, I've got 4 drivers that are former military, and some of our best for sure. But for us, unfortunately, we don't provide that training, but it's easy to get. Drivers are an absolute need in the industry today, and it's a great job. I think that you get to own the road. You're kind of your own manager. Walmart, now there's some experience involved in this, but Walmart starts out about $120,000 a year to drive for Walmart. We pay our drivers around $70,000-$80,000 a year on their W-2, and they're back every week, which is very interesting. Most team drivers, when you think of teams, are out for 2 weeks. We get our drivers back every week. It's a major benefit when you talk to drivers. Is the problem with being a driver, sometimes you're out 2 weeks away from family, but we get our drivers back home every week, and that's a differentiator for Burnside Trucking.
Eric, you got a question?
Hey, good afternoon, Greg. I appreciate the information you put. I'm a logistics guy for the Army. I've done it for roughly 25 years, between logistics and maintenance. I know you talk really heavy on your drivers and them. What other role do you see in the logistics side of the house that are up and coming that you believe are going to be the next hottest things that's coming through, and where some of us who are transitioning logistics should kind of focus towards?
Well, with a logistics background, you can pretty much name what you want to do. That's going to be huge. And thank you for your service too, by the way, all of you. I should be saying that every time. Thank you for your service. Your logistics background is going to be prime, going to be very attractive to the industry, even with AI and all of that. But I think, there's mechanicking. It's also a segment that I mentioned. We have a maintenance facility. We do our own maintenance on our trucks. That's a very high paid, I guess, job today too, and getting more expensive for us. But I'm glad that we're able to reward our mechanics. But whether it be a mechanic, again, sales, whatever your gifting is, the key is having the military background. That's the discipline, the training, all that. Whatever your love, your interest is, and what you're doing. Trucking companies are going to enjoy bringing you in because of that. Nothing against college, nothing against or even non-college, but there's something to be said about what the military does as far as training, the discipline, the hard work ethic, never give up. And I think a big thing too is the camaraderie. You guys know more than anyone, but the fraternity you establish with your brothers and sisters in the military is team, right? And so there's no I in team. And this has been the biggest thing that I've seen in my career is there's a lot of great talent and they become alone because and the success drops quickly. But when you pull together as a team and having that mindset, that fraternal mindset in the military teaches, being able to work as a team to find success is absolutely key for anyone on this phone call or on this call today, for sure.
Did that answer your question?
Oh yeah, it does. It does. I just because I understand like we talk logistics, and I know when we say word logistics, everybody runs a truck driver. That's like one because of course we understand the transportation piece of it and the maintenance portion. But I did want to understand if there was another avenue outside of just those two regions that it's starting to climb. You know, it's starting to become, hey, we need these type of loader stations here to start doing this part of the job because we do have truck drivers and we do have maintenance. That was my curiosity.
Yeah, it's a great question. There's also operations. So your logistics mindset, your background is operations, right? So a large part of any trucking company, I would say the heart of the trucking company is operations. So having that logistics background going into its dispatch possibly or operations leader, we've got a COO, so Chief Operating Officer that just runs all the operations. So there's a lot of different venues or paths you can go down with logistics in your background. But yeah, it doesn't have to be driver or maintenance. It can be operations. It can be leadership. Again, today we're seeing a lot of people just not wanting to work. So I think work ethic is huge. It's a differentiator for sure. Someone willing to do over and above the call of duty. Again, things that the military teaches, never give up, is what's going to allow anyone on this call to do great things in whatever field you want to go into. I'm just speaking for trucking.
So, Greg, what advice would you give someone who wants to move into logistics, transportation industry? Where should they start? Let's say they don't have a CDL.
Yeah, they're right now. A lot of trucking companies are hiring. Depends on again what area you want to go into. If it's not CDL, if you're not to be a driver, if you want to be a driver, get your CDL. It's going to be prime. You know, the market, the economy. I'm a nerd when it comes to. My wife says it about me, but I'm a nerd when it comes to the economy. I watch it very, very close because it's important to what we do as far as people buying fish. Right now, the economy is not good. And people aren't buying fish. You have a steak, you have salmon at the grocery store at this price, or you got pork chops, chicken, or hamburger. People are buying pork chops and chicken and hamburger today because of the economy. Now, the good news is we've been in what we call a 4-year, possibly 5-year recession, freight recession. But all indicators I watch are telling us that recession's come to an end. It's hit bottom, and now we're starting to see that come back. And so trucking companies are going to be in high need for whatever role you're looking to do to get into. There's going to be a high need for employees, whether it be drivers, again, maintenance, whether it be operations, sales, payroll, finance, whatever it may be that you're that kind of moves your ticker. But yeah, this is a good time. We've hit bottom. We're coming out. It's been a lot of bankruptcies, a lot of trucking companies that have gone down. You think about today, there's I'm trying to get the number correct here. I think there's about 3.6 million trucking companies today. And so there's a lot of, most of those trucking companies are 5 trucks or less. The big boys definitely are a big part of that. The Swifts, the JB Hunts, the Warners, they consist of about 5% of the industry, but they have probably about 2.3 million of those trucks out there today. So a lot of opportunity in the industry. In my field, there's only about 4 or 5 trucking companies that do what we do. It truly is a niche here in Miami, going up and down the Eastern Seaboard.
Thanks, Greg.
Mhm.
So one of the, during the transition, most of the folks on this call, they've lived in an environment that's highly structured, and it doesn't seem like business is quite as structured. And I know you've worked with veterans. Do you see any pitfalls that they fall into, or how they operate effectively when that structure isn't as rigid?
Yes, and I love structure. Back to process, back to org chart. Right? You have um, that is key. JB Hunt Transport. I speak to 20 years with those guys, but there is still a lot of structure. There's a hierarchy. There's a manager. There's a manager's manager. If there's an issue, you go to your manager. If it's not resolved, you go to the manager's manager. So there is a hierarchy. There is a structure. I like structure. That's why I'm big on process. Do this equals this. When I came into Burnside Trucking, we had almost zero process. So by putting in process allows for structure. Everybody understands their position, understands their expectation, and they're rewarded on that, right? So we look at how we pay annually to salary or whatever it may be is we have a structure in that. Does this person meet expectation? Do they exceed expectations? Or do they need improvement? And so if you've got an individual that's following the process, that's structure minded, and understands that there is a hierarchy and willing to follow that hierarchy, and then exceeds expectations, they're going to receive a nice little kickback as far as or a bump in pay as far as annually reviews.
Thanks, Greg.
Mhm.
So, does anybody else have any questions? All right. So, Greg, if you could leave the audience with one piece of advice or one principle for long-term success as they're transitioning into a new career, what would it be?
It goes back to what I mentioned earlier. Never give up mindset. Welcome the hard. Overcome the hard. Learn from the hard. If you're not making mistakes, you're not growing. So, from my experience, is to never give up again. To work through the issues. There are going to be problems. You're going to have a bad manager. You're going to have whatever. You're going to be in companies with bad cultures. Just know that you're there for a purpose, for that time. Learn all you possibly can. Offer solutions. Be the one that's first there, last to leave. That's not welcome today. Your books aren't talking about that. But the key to success is grit, working hard. You all have basic training, all been trained at a level higher than most. Allow what you've been trained in the military to create that grit, that hard work mindset. It's absolutely going to differentiate your brand and to promote you as fast as you want and willing to go in your career.
Awesome. Hey, Greg, greatly appreciate your time today. Appreciate all the information that you've given us, and then, also just the support that you give to the veteran and
100%.
community. Uh, Everybody, I posted Greg's LinkedIn in the chat. Please connect with him. And Greg, we look forward to having you on again in the future. Thank you.
Yes, and thank God for you guys. I truly mean that. You're incredible to me. Honor. When I think of America, I think of our military and the freedoms that you guys know, people who have given the ultimate sacrifice, maybe even body parts, for this country, freedom, that flag. And I just thank God for you guys and all that you do for America.